In the training that I deliver in Oliver McGowan, I don't just deliver it on my own. It's with the experts as well who lives with learning disabilities and lives with autism. So it's a three-way delivery. Yeah, and they talk about their experiences.
This is something that at all levels, right from the top, and whether you're in finance or whether you're working in a service, everybody that has had the training offered to them has grabbed it with two hands, because you don't work at a company like this unless you care. It doesn't matter what role you're in. If you're not on the front line, we all care and we all want the lives of the people we support to be improved, and ultimately it's at the centre of everything we do, every decision we make.
The staff have really enjoyed it because they've said that they've never been to a training like that where it's always the trainer doing the delivery but not the person who lives, so they've had their experience and what's working for them.
I think probably from the Oliver McGowan training, not only are we realising that people we can support can make a huge difference to our training, but from a HR perspective, we have a lot of policies and procedures that we expect employees to follow, but how do all of them impact the people we support? What are their views? It's not for us to say this is what people want. Let's ask people what they want. Let's work a lot more in partnership. Ultimately, this training and all of the training that we provide, but especially the Oliver McGowan training, it really forces that care that we're providing to be dignified and to be person-centred, which as a company, it really mirrors our ethos and what we're all about.
Hello, and today on Rehability UK, the Social Care Chronicles, I'm joined by Subia Hussain and Chloe Clayton. They're here today to talk us through the Oliver McGowan training, what that does for our organisation, how it's having a positive impact on all the people that we support, and more importantly, how we care for people as a result of it. Subia is our senior trainer and Chloe here is our head of people. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Subia, tell us a bit more about Oliver McGowan training. How did that come into being? Why did it come into being? And how is it having such a positive impact?
Oliver, he had mild learning disabilities and he had autism. He also had seizures. Basically, he was failed by the healthcare, not social care, healthcare, and he was admitted to hospital. And they kept prescribing him medication, and he had basically side effects from it. Then he was discharged, and the hospital, he had a hospital passport, but they ignored the hospital passport, and that told them that what his condition was, what he had. So. And they ignored that and they gave him antidepressants when he didn't need it. They also gave him other medication as well, and he had a reaction to it. So then he was discharged, then he was sent to a specialist hospital. He was fine there, but then something happened there, then he was admitted back to the hospital. So it was 3 times in 3 different areas when he was admitted back to hospital and they gave him the medication again that he had a reaction, and unfortunately he died because he had a really bad seizure. His family, especially his mom, she said that the staff, the doctors, the nurses, they wasn't trained. They didn't look at his hospital passport. They didn't communicate with him. Yeah, so there was no inclusivity, and basically they wasn't following the laws as well on equality and diversity, right. Including him, asking him because he had the capacity. They wasn't asking him how he is, and they just made assumptions that this is what was wrong with him. Right. So she went to Parliament, and his mum did, and she said that she wanted to make it law that all healthcare and social care should have Oliver McGowan training and make it mandatory. And the government agreed with it because they said that, because not only does it cover learning disabilities, because he had learning disability, he was autism as well. And then obviously medication comes into it as well. So that's like stomp and stamp. That's why our medication here, Rehability, we're really thorough with that as well, to making sure that, that the records are kept and that medication meets all the requirements of CQC as well and everything.
Okay, so you're basically saying so that there was a big gap of knowledge in primary healthcare and in wider healthcare, and this training was basically built to meet that need.
Yeah.
And so when people come to this course, what would they learn, and why has it been so helpful for the people that you've been training?
The staff within Rehability, they've obviously already worked with, lived with experience with learning disabilities and autism. So they have the training and the experience. It's just to upgrade really their knowledge and skills and then put it into practice. And obviously on the training, they learn about that, what can happen if you give the wrong medication, and especially for the people who can't communicate. And they're given, say for example, they're not feeling very well, and then you take them to the doctors. Make sure you take their hospital passport with them, so that they can see the history, that what is wrong with the person, and then what they should do now, and make that reasonable adjustments. Obviously, with the healthcare, they didn't make reasonable adjustments. So now that's a big thing. And in the training that I deliver in Oliver McGowan, I don't just deliver it on my own. It's with the experts as well, who lives with learning disabilities and lives with autism. So it's a three-way delivery.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and they talk about their experiences and what changes, within their service in Rehability, what they've made and how they're living an independent life.
So Chloe, when you first joined the company and you heard about the tragic death of Oliver, and how has that shaped your approach to resourcing training within Rehability UK?
It's had a huge impact, to be honest. It's almost a powerful reminder. It's not new information to our teams, to our managers, but it's almost a reminder of how we have such a strong impact on the livelihood of the people we support, and advocating for people. And as Subi has said, having that empathy, being their voice is so important. And it's not just the Oliver McGowan training. For us, it starts right at induction. But the Oliver McGowan training, what's so special about that is, exactly as Subi has said, we have people with lived experience take part in that. So hearing that firsthand has such an impact on the learners, and we've had amazing feedback on the course, but it really has made us reflect on all of the other training that we provide. It sort of forced us to see the success of this course and try and implement that in all of the other courses that we provide as well.
So you'd say this is having a much bigger...
Oh, profound. Honestly, it's made us review everything we do. We've always worked that the people we support and their well-being, their not just their in terms of health, but their happiness and adding value every day and living a purposeful life has always been at the core of everything we do. But more so now, we are looking more at training that really adds value and changes the lives of our employees and the people we support and how we do things day to day, rather than just, this is mandatory, we have to do this. It's, okay, that's the baseline. Mandatory is now the baseline. Right. What else can we do? How can we really make this land? And it's more of a follow through to, this is mandatory, this is the skills and the knowledge that you need, and here's how it impacts people. Sure. It's created that link with everything that we do.
We're now doing a course which has both autism elements and learning disability built into it. How does bringing those two things together and talking them in the rich context that can provide, how does that impact on the training and people attending?
Yeah, but it's about making sure that we provide positive outcomes, because everything, is outcome focused. When CQC come in to do their inspections, they want to see that what person-centred care that you're providing, how you're safeguarding the people we support. So that will include, people with who've got lived experience with learning disabilities and autism, and it's making sure that we're complying with all the standards, the regulations as well. Right. So it's just about safeguarding them as well. And also the staff will get the experience of how they live with their learning disability and how R lives with autism as well. So they get an insight to them that when they were young to where they are now, and how rehabilitation have made a big difference to their lives in where they're living now at the moment, and how staff are supporting them, what activities they're doing, and what people can do, and how communication, not just leaving them out, because they've got capacity. The people that do the training with me, they said they want to be asked, do I want to do this? Okay, so say, for example, if the weather was bad outside, and it was like, when we had the bad weather, now you have an outdoor activity planned, but what choices are you going to give me, instead, that to make sure that you follow it up. That's what they wanted to see. So instead of, because sometimes people with LD and autism, they might have anxiety. Like the one who with autism, she was saying that if I know I'm doing an outdoor activity, she's got a sensory room, but she said that she wants staff to tell her well in advance, that the weather, is going to be bad today, so we won't be able to go out. If they tell me in advance, then I will go to my bedroom where now the staff have supported her and made it into a sensory room. So then I can go there and I can go calm down. So then her anxiety levels will drop as well. So she's, so she'll be calm there as well, and they'll leave her alone.
So you're saying really that the heart of this course, it's about communication.
Communication, it's really important, communication, whether it's verbal, non-verbal, using different methods of communication as well. In the Oliver McGowan training, you'll see as well when you all attend the training, on the morning session, we introduce ourselves by using Makaton. And we get all the staff as well, and they lead it as well. They'll say that, so they'll ask the staff that, use Makaton. It's on there anyway, on the board as well, so because obviously it might be new for some staff, but that's another way of communication as well.
And Makaton's like a form of sign language, isn't it?
Sign language, So it's really good. So we use all different types of methods of communication, and it's just by asking, even if they were non-verbal, there's other methods of communication as well. So using picture books to communicate with them, using objects of reference where you touch at things to communicate. And they talk about their experience from where they was, before they moved into rehabilitation, and the changes and the impact it's made to their lives. Fantastic. And how the people that are supporting them, to remain living in independent lives within rehabilitation service, wherever they are living, that they're putting measures in place to make sure that you safeguard me. Safeguard me from any signs of abuse as well. So, and it also impacts on the staff, because all training links in, because with the Oliver McGowan, we cover a lot. We cover communication, we cover medication. So why medication is really important, why you need to complete records also comes in there as well. If you see signs that the person's not very well, instead of taking, before you take them to the doctors, make sure that sometimes they might be constipated, because they've bought constipation in the training in Oliver McGowan, because doctors, again, were making presumptions because they were non-verbal and they were in pain, and they went to the doctors, and then the doctors think, I'll send you, it might be appendicitis, when it's got nothing to do with that, when it was because, unfortunately, there was a case in the West Midlands where, with another organisation, they failed the service user, and he was constipated, and they kept giving him the medication Gaviscon, and their records failed. So they failed him by not completing the records and complete, like that. What is he eating? So I cover all that in the Oliver McGowan. Sorry, I know I went on a bit there, but you can see the bigger picture,
No, I think it's so. What you're telling me is so important, because what you're saying is that this is all about broad spectrum, multifaceted, layered up care. Is that
Yeah,
a good idea?
yeah.
And I think for me, what's struck me about the content of the courses I've done so far online is that for me it's about learning how people prefer to be communicated with. And I was really struck by the online training where, they were talking about how they break things down and break sentences down and then ask things in different ways. And that really helps people understand each other better, both from the carer's point of view and also the people being supported.
Because it's a three-way delivery, with the person who lives with LD and lives with autism. The staff have really enjoyed it because they've said that they've never been to a training like that where it's always the trainer doing the delivery but not the person who lives. So they've had their experience and what's working for them, and then what you could do as well to support the people that you support in your services as well. So I said that's made a big difference with them as well.
Sure. So do the people who are attending the course ask questions about the people that they're supporting to you and the people who are experts?
They ask the experts,
Yeah.
that how they can help the people that they support as well, that how would you do this? They give them like scenarios and then they tell them,
And so that's really
yeah,
helping them actually take things, real live living examples, back to their everyday practice.
And also I said to them as well, because of the healthcare failures, that's why this was brought in mandatory. Now when you take the people you support to the appointments at the doctors or the hospitals, they have to make, by law now, they have to make reasonable adjustments for the people we support. So that means that will be time, that you're waiting in the waiting room. If you know that, that the crowd is going to, their anxiety levels go up, from there because of all the people that are in there, they need to make reasonable adjustments and give them another waiting room so that they can go in there. So this is what, the staff were learning as well, that they can with this now. And they can challenge the people at the hospital, and they should also now go with obviously our staff go with the hospital records. Sure. But if they say that, I don't need to look at that, no, you challenge them and say, no, you need to read the hospital records, because it tells you everything about that person.
So what you're doing is actually giving people confidence to be positive advocates for the people they're supporting. Brilliant. Obviously, Subi, you've talked a bit now by the people that we are supporting who are actually delivering the training with you. That's an incredibly powerful tool for training. What impact has that actually had on the people themselves who are the experts? How's that really helping them?
Oh my God, it's built their confidence. When I'm delivering, and say, for example, if I just need to go and use the bathroom, they will take over the training because they've built that confidence. They know that, you know what I mean? And they said that, we'll take over and they'll carry on with the training.
So they actually take over your bits of the training now?
Yeah. And I said, no, carry on. And I think that's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. They love interacting with other people because sometimes a change of scenery does the people good for the people we support. And seeing other staff there as well, and it's like they're building a friendship. They're looking at other rehabilitation staff and who they are. And they like it as well that when the big bosses are in the training as well. Because they've asked, that when is Amjad coming, when's Christina coming? So, they want them to be present as well in the training. So it's really built their confidence. So they look forward to the training because it's a job for them. With the person who lives with learning disability, it's his second job. Because his first job is at McDonald's. Oh, wow. And the one who lives with autism, this is her first job. So, and, she's there, she knows it's her routine because people with autism, they don't like it when you change their routine. So I plan my training in advance, just so for their availability to make sure. So I don't change the day, the specific days. So I always have it on a Wednesday. So it doesn't, interfere with, especially the person who lives with autism because of their routines and everything as well. But it's made a big difference. It's built their confidence. If you ask her a question, she will look at me and answer it. But now she maintains, whoever asks the question, she will look directly at you. She's built that confidence there in the training, which I've noticed as well. Yeah.
So you would say that it's really like lifted their interpersonal skills.
Yeah.
It's built their confidence, and now to the point actually they've learned everything you're delivering.
Yeah.
So they could probably deliver the entire training for you.
They can. They've learnt it now. And the one who lives with autism, she joins the learning disability, like she comes in, because it's like broken down into 2 sessions. So on the morning is the LD and then autism on the afternoon. But she likes to come in a bit early and she gets involved as well. So, and they both got a really good relationship as well, both of them as well, yeah. And she likes, she's trying to send me a video of how her sensory room looks like now as well. But it's made a really, really positive difference. Sure. And because it's working so well, I've sent 2 experts from Devon as well, who live with LD and autism, to be trained up because it was too far for them to travel up there.
Oh, right. So you're expanding out now.
Yeah. So then I can then deliver the training for our services in Devon, just to focus on them, with them. Because it's working well. At the moment, there's only me. But if I can get the other trainers, my colleagues, trained up as well, and then expand out to community as well, because there's a shortage.
Chloe.
Yes.
You're hearing about this strategy and this plan to expand our training provision. So, from your perspective, how does this break new ground for us here at Rehability UK?
Well, partnering with people we support hasn't really been done before in this way. Obviously, everything we do day to day is partnering with them, but from a training perspective and sort of a head office perspective, it's not something we've really done before. It's kind of mandated with the Oliver McGowan, but it's also inspired us to review all of our other training and where we can be getting people we support involved more. The employees that have been on the training said that hearing the real life stories really does help to embed the training with them. There are a lot of similarities with people with these conditions. So the person that we support with autism, for example, will give examples day to day that the team can really relate to, and they can think, oh, I know somebody who does that, and actually I can take this away. And think, they think of the people that they work with day to day, that they can really embed the training. The training is obviously not just a one-time initiative either. So it's the start of a much bigger journey for us to become a more inclusive and empathetic workplace, working in partnership with the people we support and not sort of a staff and people we support culture. It's much more of a partnership, not only between us and the people we support, but their families, the wider communities and other healthcare professionals as well. As Subia mentioned, doctors, hospitals, and it's the start of a lot of exciting things.
So from an organisational perspective, obviously we've broken some new ground, getting people we support involved with it. What were some of the challenges and concerns that we had to get across when we did that?
I think originally we were struggling for volunteers. I think the people we support that we approached to try and get them trained as experts were quite apprehensive, which is totally understandable. This is a really new idea for them and us, and none of us really knew how it was going to work. I think working and having our employees already having those really strong relationships with the people they support, being able to guide them, being able to work with them to calm their anxieties and really understand, right, what is expected of me, made a huge difference. And that's really testament to the relationships that our employees do have with the people that they look after day to day, and being so respectful and understanding them on a personal level, being able to work with them, coach them. But that was definitely a challenge. It was just really getting volunteers. The buy-in from the business wasn't a challenge at all. This is something that at all levels, right from the top, and whether you're in finance or whether you're working in a service, everybody that has had the training offered to them has grabbed it with 2 hands, because you don't work at a company like this unless you care. It doesn't matter what role you're in. If you're not on the front line, we all care and we all want the lives of the people we support to be improved. And ultimately, it's at the centre of everything we do, every decision we make. So the fact that we could all go on training, which would improve people's lives, we've got a queue at the door, haven't we, Subia?
Yeah.
So, Subia, obviously we got the interest from the people we supported, and we've just heard how so important it was to get having the people we support and their carers encouraging them. But once they got to you to be trained, what were the challenges that you faced with that?
Because what it is, it was the NHS England. I put an expression of interest in a while ago because they offer the training to NHS first.
Right.
And then they had some spaces after a 6-month wait. Yeah, and then me and Teresa, my colleague, we got trained on the instructor training first.
Oh, right.
And then what they did, the lead trainer for NHS England, she said that, do you have any people that you want to get trained up with, meaning the experts?
Yeah.
Because that's who we're training, because now they offer the first places to the NHS. Right. So and she said, but because she knew, and I said, oh, will you train our experts? And she said, if they can come here, because the only problem was, that was the difficulty, because the training is in Staffordshire.
Okay.
Yeah, so now with the experts from here, from the Midlands, it was fine getting there. But for the people from Devon, that was difficult. So I had to arrange in advance to ask the area manager, the regional manager, that they'd have to book a hotel, but they were willing to go. Okay. I was a bit, apprehensive at first, thinking, oh, how they're going to find it travelling all the way up there. And I don't think driving was ideal because, they might have behaviours, you have to take everything into consideration. Of course. And they said, no, it'd be ideal if we get the train. So they booked a train and booked a hotel. And they said that once they was in the training, they said that it was brilliant. They enjoyed it. Lovely. Yeah. And now, because we haven't done rolled it out to Devon at the moment. And Devon's such a big area of rehability. Yeah. So we've got loads of services there. And they're really looking forward now to meeting me. So we can. We're just going to get together on the Monday. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm delivering it. So all the managers, team leaders and the staff, they're all going to come. And I think it was just mainly for them to get there because I did my training with Staffordshire, South Staffordshire, NHS England. It was them who offered me the places to train the experts as well. Fantastic. Yeah, so I just stayed with them. And it was easier to do it like that.
Apart from logistics, you had some real top-notch input to help us get to where we're going. Yeah. And obviously, we've learned a lot by doing that. Subi, what have you learned personally about working with people living with autism, working with people living with learning disability to deliver this training? What have you learned along the way that's changed your opinion on life and made a positive impact on you?
I think it's their experiences, what they've been through. Sure. Before moving into rehabilitation, the services that they stay in now. I mean, obviously one's from East Midlands and the other one's from Worcestershire. Sure. I've already worked in learning disability sector for a long time since I left school. So, and autism as well. But the one who lives with autism, what she went through, I'm experiencing more of that now, what my nephew's going through, because he's living with autism. So, and listening to her story and what she's had to go through from childhood to where she is now, and what help there is as well. And she was saying sensory, but sometimes as well, like overload of information, it doesn't help people with autism as well. Right. So now I understand, like if I had to go and work in a service, that not to overload them with information. And obviously you're only going to know that information is when you get to know them. Sure. And because I've got to know them, and by obviously reading their support plans, everything's on there, to me, everything is making sure that that they need to remain living in their services independently, provide, and just making sure that that society is accepting them as well, and accommodating. So you're making reasonable adjustments. So say, for example, well, we've made reasonable adjustments, because we've got a lift. So now if there was a person with LD or autism and they wanted to come and visit the office, they can come. Can't they? So we've made that reasonable adjustment. So, and it's also, it's opened my eyes as well, that thinking now, when I deliver the training to the staff, I'll make sure I ask them the question that what reasonable adjustments have you made in your service? When I ask them that, they get a bit stuck thinking, oh, I don't know, we don't have wheelchair users. No, I said, it's just little things. Sure. Yeah, little things that you've you've made for the person that you support. And then this is when learning off my co-workers, I should say, and when I'm working, with them, and then they speak and tell their experiences, just so that they have a better idea as well, that what reasonable adjustments mean. So it doesn't mean that you have to have a lift just because they're not, they're wheelchair users, they have no mobility. Any little thing that you've made. So with in hers, the reasonable adjustment they've made is she loves anything sensory. I bought her for Christmas a sensory ball,
right,
and a light, that like a sensory light on you. So I focused on what would benefit them. Do you know what I mean? Instead of chocolates and all that, it's what would benefit them.
Chloe, one of the topics the course covers is health inequalities, and people with learning disabilities and autism are facing a huge amount of these. And for example, men with a learning disability die on average 22 years younger than average, and women dying 27 years younger than the general population die. And often the sad thing about this is that they're dying from avoidable medical causes. And I know Oliver himself was an extreme case of this, but what's your reaction to those stats when you hear about those in the training?
It's horrifying, to be honest, and these aren't just statistics. I think once you work with people who face these challenges, and these are names, these are faces, these are real people that we interact with. So the statistic alone is shocking and disgusting, but when you take away the fact that that's a number and it's you can envisage these people, it's heartbreaking. And the worst part of all of that is that it's avoidable. We're not talking about their illness or their condition as put us in this situation. We're talking about things that could be avoided. And it really hits home to our employees that you are empowered to make a change to this statistic. You can be a huge part in making people live longer. Who can go to work and say that if I really concentrate in this training, if I really take this on board, if I'm motivated at work and I really take all this in and I play my part, I can change a statistic that's so miserable and depressing and wrong. It's really empowering.
But some of the statistics they took with the leader report, they took it during COVID. Right. Now, what happened during COVID, don't forget, you had the coronavirus, and on top of your learning disability, obviously you're going to have other conditions. Sure. Yeah. So like epilepsy, and, so you rely on like medication. And because if you're stuck indoors, you can't do that many outdoor activities, you're not having the fresh air. So that's where they were mainly basing the statistics were based on during that period on the leader report. So it was mainly because of that, and then other health conditions as well. And also when a person with learning disability, if they were end of life, they wasn't testing them. And then they just discharged them and sent them just to die. And there's a girl that I look after, she's got learning disabilities, but she's Down syndrome. Right. Now, they gave her a shorter life expectancy. With Down syndrome, they do. But she's 28, and she had a heart condition, because they come with other health conditions. and she's, so all them figures, they're living a lot longer now, and it's all to do with, the life skills.
Sure.
Yeah. Them being independent, having a healthy diet. Do you know what I mean? Having the right nutrition as well, and the right medication as well. So not giving medication that they don't need.
Sure.
Yeah. Obviously, with epilepsy, you have to have like bucomadazolam, that kind of medication. But any other medication that they don't need, it doesn't necessarily. She loves going to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's, benefited her as well. So they're lasting a lot longer. And I think with supported living as well for the people that we support, doing daily activities, getting involved, in baking.
Sure.
Yeah, anything that they enjoy. Because obviously you take into consideration, like Robert, they were taking him to Disneyland. I don't know whether it was Florida or Paris, but can you see how much of a difference that is making to their lives? Because he loves holidays. He said that when he works in McDonald's, he's not serving the customers, but he's still talking to them, even though he's cleaning the tables. He's having that interaction. Yeah, and he said that he loves that job because the people there, and they're really friendly with him, and they all know, and all the other staff, they'll go and talk to him as well. He knows everybody.
So I think you're saying, Bailey, while the stats can be difficult, actually there are ways to mitigate.
Yes,
and there are ways
definitely.
to improve people's lives in a fundamental way, whether it be a quality of life, reducing medication, improving people's health outcomes, and also improving their activity levels, which then has a massive positive impact.
With the Oliver McGowan training, it's making sure that, obviously we've always had a health passport, taking that with them as well, having regular checks. Yeah, that's what the outcome that we was trying to say in Oliver McGowan, that make sure that you go, regular for your health checks. And what does regular health checks? It can avoid any, like further complications that you're having as well, and not making assumptions. Because in the Oliver McGowan, we talk about, there was a video that I play where the girl, she's got a learning disability, she had Down syndrome, and she was supposed to go for her smear test. When she got to the hospital, they said, "Oh, why haven't you come with anybody? I think you need to be here with somebody." And so it's discrimination. We talk about all the laws, the legislation, and how, regardless of if they have learning disability, if they have autism, they should still be treated as an individual. And that's because and human rights, they have the same human rights, and remain independent. They should, go for their regular health checks, and don't make assumptions. Yeah, that's what it is. Make reasonable adjustments. They're getting better healthcare because they've now they've got you'll see booklets on the table, like easy read. For the people with learning disabilities, and that the doctor surgeries are more better than healthcare, I think. Yeah, but they are getting better.
So I know the course covers something called diagnostic overshadowing. What's this, and how does that happen, and how does that affect people?
Yeah, but diagnostic overshadowing is attributing any difficulties or changes in presentation or someone's diagnosis. So basically what it means is that, like, somebody where they had their stomach pains, and I show a video where he's got really bad stomach pains, a new support worker comes in to work with him, and she didn't read his support plan. Because she didn't read his support plan, and she just made a presumption, and that he hasn't ate his dinner, because it was there left on the kitchen side. And so she just didn't read the care plan. She just said, "Oh, I'll go and do the shopping." And she didn't communicate.
Right.
How about communicating and asking him what's wrong? Where's the pain coming from? It led him to be bedbound, in agony, in pain. To say that I'm in pain, my stomach's hurting me. And this is where the families are, they're much involved as well, and they should be, because it's working in partnership. You don't just work on your own, you work in partnership. It could be, family members, other professionals, like doctors, nurses. Now, she came in and she said that you need to monitor his toilet intake, that is he going to the toilet, is he opening his bowels? None of this she didn't read up, so she just made an assumption, and then she caught him in the nick of time. She took him to the doctors, but it's there, that's what it is, it's you're like making assumptions. And and then he could have been prescribed something else instead of having change of lifestyle, eating healthy, monitoring, that has he had. So that's why we should always record everything.
So now that you've heard that, Chloe, how can we as a caring organisation make inroads and help reduce the impacts of this type of thing in our organisation?
We are very aware as an organisation of our responsibility to make a difference on these, not only the statistics, but, protecting the people that we support. We empower our employees to speak up, to advocate for the people we support, whether it is with other healthcare professionals, whether it is with families, whether it is other people that we work with in the communities. Our employees know that speaking up is a positive thing for all of us. It's having that communication with the people we support, understanding their struggles, understanding if they are in pain, if they are having some medical situation that requires attention, and speaking up for them when needed to. We help them to understand and navigate medical software. We've all been asked to download the NHS app, and that's not as easy for some of the people we support, especially when we have some non-verbal people we support and the doctors are saying it's on the app. It doesn't work for everybody, and as we've said, not all healthcare professionals naturally make these reasonable adjustments, and it's not for us to say, well, the doctors don't make that reasonable adjustment. It's for us to advocate and say that doesn't work for this person, especially when they can't speak up themselves. It's our duty to do it on their behalves. And I think it's really important that as, HR, as a leadership team, our employees know that you have our back, and if you are more than encouraged to speak up, even if, the doctors are saying, who's that pain in the backside carer that's making loads of noise? Well, no, you should. You're doing the right thing, and you will always have the company's backing for doing the right thing. It's absolutely what we promote. We make sure that everybody that we support has personalised care plans. There is no one size fits all here. We make sure that every care plan is personalised to that person's history, their current treatment, but not only the medical side of things. What do they like? What gets them excited? What calms their anxieties? So that if we do have new employees, if we have bank staff, whatever that might be, everything is in one place. So there's nothing that's going to get missed. That's not going to stress the people out because they've got new faces. We can give that reassurance. It's fine. We all know what you like, what you don't like. And we involve people we support in shaping our practices, like we are with this training. It's something that we are getting a lot better at, and I think probably from the Oliver McGowan training, not only are we realising that people we can support can make a huge difference to our training, but also our policies, our procedures. And from a HR perspective, we have a lot of policies and procedures that we expect employees to follow, but how do all of them impact the people we support? What are their views? It's not for us to say this is what people want. Let's ask people what they want. Let's work a lot more in partnership. But definitely advocating employees to speak up if they notice barriers, if they've got concerns. That is something that we are really embedding into our culture as a company. That advocating for people is rewarded.
And also, people can raise concerns when they're actually doing the job.
Exactly.
And I think for me, ensuring that people know that is part of this whole overarching concept of communication. And I love the way that the course talks about the fact that you ask, the fact that you listen, then you reflect, and then do. And I think for me that whole I was listening to, I was like, yeah, okay, that really makes sense. It's breaking the steps down into manageable chunks so that people go, okay, so I've done the asking. What has that told me?
Yeah.
I've then listened. Has that really told me what I really need to know? Do I need to ask again in a different way? And then for me, I thought the great thing about that was, okay, we're going to do this now together. Let's do it in partnership. And I think for me, when I was going through that bit of the course, I was like, this really makes sense now.
Yeah.
It's that being reflective on what you're doing and how you're doing it. I mean, I only work in marketing, so I don't really do that. But I was suddenly thinking to myself, but I deal with people we support. I film people we support. So I need to ask for their permission. I need to let them know what we're doing, understand, so they understand what we're doing, give them the time to communicate and digest that before doing, rather than just diving in and making assumptions, which...
Yeah, it's about using those experiences and what we're being told, and like you say, really processing that and using that to find solutions, and whether that's sort of day-to-day lives or whether that is a real serious challenge. It's not just us coming up with solutions, it is really working in partnership to improve things, and that's really the whole purpose of this.
For me, looking at this, now that we've delivered these courses, how's that changed the way you see your role as a trainer?
My role is I deliver loads of training. It's not just this. Sure. But the thing with the Oliver McGowan, because it's a three-way delivery, this one's a bit different. But all the other training, obviously, I might deliver positive behaviour support. That's if people display behaviours. Communication is really important. All the courses that we deliver, they all link in together. Right. Yeah, there's because it's about the people that we support. So it's about the people who live with learning disability and who live with autism, and we cover all of the training. We cover communication, how communication is important. If there's any barriers, how you're going to reduce that barrier, what you're going to do. Yeah, so I'll say, for example, if they need to put their glasses on. Sure. And about the lighting, how one size doesn't fit all. Right. Like, all their care plans are individualized to them. Yeah. So now with the person who lives with autism, just because she likes and she's got autism and she loves anything sensory, she loves the sensory boards and the lights, doesn't mean another person who lives with autism is going to like sensory, yeah?
So you can't just make assumptions.
Yes, you can't make assumptions because it doesn't. One size doesn't fit all, yeah? So it's their individual, and she might like that. It doesn't mean because she's got autism that she's, like with Robert as well, because of his learning disability. But I know that with the person who I deliver the training with autism, she doesn't like changes. Yeah, she's got, they like routines, yeah, and if you change that routine, and it also, you shouldn't make an assumption that a person with autism is going to be intelligent. Now, because they used to say this as well, and you're learning
the sort of autistic savant type thing. That's all people knew about the condition. Yeah.
About the IQ, thinking that they're going to be intelligent in that area, it doesn't necessarily mean that. Yeah. So she has her strengths, and she's very intelligent. I will say that you'll see in the training, but it doesn't mean that another person that comes in who I'm going to be delivering in Devon with, that they're going to be exactly the same. So it's just making sure that all part of the training team, whatever training we deliver, we embed that we need to be safeguarding the people we support, providing a quality service, to them, and making sure that you read the care plans, documenting everything, because you need to be safeguarding, them as well, and getting them involved, gaining consent, and what does CQC, what do they want to see? Yeah, they want to see that you're involving the people that you support. What are you doing, for them to remain independent and, living within their own home, because that is their home.
Once the training has been rolled out to all of our staff, and that's still ongoing, isn't it? Mm-hmm. What will happen after that?
It will become sort of business as usual, that sort of having the training, reinforcing the knowledge, the learning that we've made from this course will be monitored moving forward. The policies that we have, the procedures we have are all under review, making sure that they reinforce the empowerment that we give to our employees to speak up and to advocate for people we support. And I mean, that's from sort of a HR policy perspective, but also from all of our operational policies as well, making sure that we are not only empowering employees but telling them this is a must. You must speak up for people. You must make sure that the care they're receiving from other parties is correct, and that they are making those reasonable adjustments. It's also forced us to review all of the other training we provide, working in partnership with the people we support. The profound impact that's had on this training can be done again and again and again, and it opens up opportunities for employment for the people we support to continue to work with us as well. So yeah, it's made us rethink a lot of what we do in a really positive way, and I think there'll be some really exciting changes in the near future.
And from your perspective, Subia, I think you've started to see this rolling out. What else do you want to see happen next as part of this, now that you've learned so much?
I think involving them in other training as well. That's coming up. Even if they just come for like half an hour or an hour, getting them involved in even some of the online training that we do as well. So just like getting their perspective on any of the training. So like, say for example, we could have a little snippet of them in maybe like the medication and how that, that particular medication that they're on, that what if they didn't have it and you missed that medication or you made a medication error, what the consequences could be, what the side effects. So just like a little snippet video of them. And I was thinking it's good, with their consent, obviously, involving them. And also, one good thing as well, which the quality team was saying that, they were thinking of using them also in recruitment, in the recruitment drive, that they thought that would be really good, because they've already been trained and now they're confident, getting them more involved in what rehabilitation does, like even, especially with recruitment, if you go in on, I forgot what they call them, when you go and do recruitment days. So some of the team in our people department, they're going to be doing some of these where they, maybe to the job centre or something, and
maybe taking to careers fairs.
Yeah. But I thought that would be nice, involving them. And also, what's led from this as well, because we're such a big organisation, and we're going into another further training, which is called autism and spell.
And a lot of that comes from the Autistic Society, is that right?
Yeah, National Autistic Society,
And so by doing this training, we're now reaching out to other partner agencies and other partner non-governmental agencies who can help us to improve what we do. And I think for me, that's a real positive for rehabilitation. When you look at what we do, how we do it, and then work out actually we can get more information and more training and more information from other places, I think that's going to be brilliant.
I'll tell you what else as well. For the Devon services, because obviously we had to get a bigger venue, and they're using the local council, their venue they're using.
Oh, wow.
So I think as well that it might be nice for them to, just to come in the training and see, and then, putting it out to them as well, like later on, because they have to do it as well.
Okay.
So I'm just thinking ahead.
So you might be able to offer the training to other organisations.
Yeah.
Which would then be a huge bonus, because that would actually, get real life experience into other people's hands so that they can learn from what we do, which I think for me has a huge benefits. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it's even more empowering for the people we support who are involved to know that this isn't just a mandatory thing for our company, but we see so much value in you that we want to expand on that. I think the reaction from our employees to this just shows what an amazing workforce we do have. It's not an easy job that our people do, and the fact that they do it with so much care and compassion and want to continue to learn and understand the people they work with day in, day out more, it's really admirable, and it sort of leans quite nicely to the company culture, and how important our staff are, as well as the people we support, and how that we really empower that partnership working. Ultimately, this training and all of the training that we provide, but especially the Oliver McGowan training, it really forces that care that we're providing to be dignified and to be person-centred, which as a company, it really mirrors our ethos and what we're all about.
So the world of learning never stands still. What changes have you seen in training are going to sort of impact us and what we're going to do to be able to do in the future?
With all the training, I won't just say with Oliver McGowan, they said that we didn't realise that after this training that we can go, when we take the people we support to their appointments, that we can challenge the people there, because of the reasonable adjustments, and they should, but some of them have said that, it's still not there, but it's a slow process in the NHS because they're short-staffed and, and everything else. But I said you can, because it's CQC not only inspect social care, they inspect healthcare.
Right.
Yeah, so obviously they want to see that they're making a difference as well. Right. So you are allowed, to go there and challenge them, because, if they're showing signs of anxiety because of where you are and you've been there for half an hour, you should call them up first and say, can you give me another room where I can take them if you're going to be any longer, because, their anxiety, they might have behaviours as well, so you've got to take that into consideration as well. So I said you are allowed to change. It's made a big difference as well. And they said, I think with the constipation part, when we covered that, and they brought that into the Oliver McGowan, I think that opened their eyes as well. And they said, oh God, we didn't know about that. Even though it's, like medication is the big thing, and how to prevent medication errors, which is a big thing. Yeah. But they said that it's, and I said, that's why Nourish, which is the platform that we use, to do all the recording on there. I said, on the care plans, make sure that you drop down the menu and you write down everything, even if you think that they've left the food, and that might be their favourite food. Why have they left it? Still record it, because you need to be recording and monitoring their food and fluid intake, because you don't know what could happen. So it's always about safeguarding. Communication is really important. Involve them in everything. Even if they don't have capacity, and then non-verbal, there's other methods to communicate. They can still hear you. They see you. They might, their eyes will watch you. It doesn't mean that you can't offer choices. So you can still offer choices even though they don't have capacity. And I think the training that we all deliver, hopefully making a difference. We should be, and it's every training that we deliver, it has the meaning to it, and it's about the people that we support, and about them, safeguarding them, which is really, really important. How you're going to safeguard them. This is what they want to see. What you're doing, offering them choices, working in a person-centered way, involving them. And it's not just about just them, because if you imagine them in the circle and we're around the circle, and it's other organisations as well, like nurses, doctors as well, so they all come in.
I think it's evident through all of the training how much our trainers care. So they all come from a caring background, and it's really clear to see, and it's important for me to have in the team such caring individuals delivering the training, because it's infectious. I'm so proud of the team. I think they work so hard. They travel miles and miles up and down the country, or if they're at home, they're still working early, late. If we find out that we've got employees that haven't been on training, they're doing extra hours, making sure, and it is because they care so much. And the Oliver McGowan training is just another training course that they've done such an amazing job with. And as Subia said, we're having such good feedback. And as sort of heading up the team, I'm so proud of the team. I couldn't ask for a better group of people to be out visiting the services and making such an impact. And, you know, the course is there, the course is set, but the way the team deliver it and work with the people we support, you know, if they weren't such amazing people, it all wouldn't work so well, but it does. So here's my public thank you share of admiration for having such an amazing team.
Brilliant. So, as you know, we did an interview with Rachel and with Robert, and we'd love to get your reaction to it. So if I can show that to you, that'd be great.
Sure.
Oh, I told them about my Centrium, how I used to self-harm and how my Centrium's brought me out of that. Doctor's appointments, how I need stress items when I go there, and TEDx when I go for hospital appointments.
I tell them how I feel, how important I am, and how this training's brought me up, and I feel like I've learnt more. I feel more important now I've done the training, got more into it.
So now that you've heard from Rachel and from Robert, what's your reaction to what they've said?
It's heartwarming. It's really brings it home, the why. So when we're all, you know, whether you are back office, whether you're working in service, Rachel and Robert are the why. Yeah. Why we're doing this, why we're implementing this training, and to hear the difference from before they came to live at one of our services and we started to work with them to now, why would you not want to work here?
Yeah. It was quite moving listening to them, especially for me when Rachel was saying, I used to self-harm.
I know.
And actually I've now got a sensory room.
Yeah.
That brought me out of that. It meant that she had a coping mechanism.
Yeah, and that's not an accident. That's not just happened overnight. That's happened because of the hard work, the understanding of our employees that have made such a difference to somebody's life. How it's incredible.
And what have you seen in terms of the way Robert's reacted and what?
Well, he said, I'm a trainer now. He said, no, you could see the confidence that, you know, that he can deliver the training, and he's a trainer. And his service, and then when he even comes to the training and even watching the video as well, the relationship he's got with the staff, it's absolutely amazing. They just know him, they know what his likes are as well. And I think him being at Rehability and what they do for him as well, I think that's absolutely amazing. I do praise them. I give them a good shout out as well. I do, with the staff, because they're doing really well, not just with Robert, with Rachel as well. And with watching that video, I look forward to my training delivered. I'm a trainer now. Yes, I'm a trainer.
It is lovely. Yeah. And I think you can't underestimate, forgetting for 1 minute, the impact that as a company and as employees we have on their lives, but the impact that they have on our lives, and the way that you can't help but feel joy when you're with people like that, because it is so infectious. And what an honour to come to work and spend time with people that just spread joy, and you want to make that impact on their lives. And those videos, they're, like you say, they're really heartwarming, and yeah.
And it makes you feel as well as part of a team, and you know, and it feels nice knowing that, you know, that Rehability's done this, and, you know, I feel good as well that I'm working for a good organisation, a good team.
But you're part of something bigger, you know. I think it helps all of our employees, doesn't matter what job you're in, but you understand the impact that you make, those measurable things that you do day in, day out, that have an impact on people's lives. You make somebody's life better, and what an honour.
So I just want to show you a quick clip from Russell, who attended one of the courses that you run, Subia, and I'll just show you that clip now.
Rather than watching videos or reading or online, to actually have the visual face-to-face, one-to-one, and I find they speak from their heart and they have no filter. They say it exactly as it is. In my opinion, it should never have happened what happened to him, and hopefully it will never ever happen again. So from one sad, terribly sad thing, hopefully we can all learn from it and it will never happen again.
So now you've seen Russell talking about the course. How did that impact you, and what did you think?
No, I'm happy that he said that it shouldn't have happened which is true. So it's lessons learned. What are you going to do about it? And what are you going to do to make sure that it doesn't happen again? And which is true, it should never have happened. So, but it's about lessons learned. You reflect, talking about reflection as well. And it's good, he said, because not all learning, you have to take into consideration that all staff have different learning needs. So it doesn't mean that, just watching a video like e-learning and learn like that, where the people were in the, getting their point across, that how they live with the, learning disability or autism, and getting their insight. And he said that it made a big difference to his learning. So I was happy with that.
And what about you? What did you think?
It's great to see the feedback, because we get feedback forms, we get emails to say that was great, but to hear it from somebody saying the impact that it made on them, it's sort of, it's nice for us to hear that. And I think the fact that our employees take the training that way, and it really does make them think on it and change the way that they do things, I just think it, as he said, this is a devastating thing that happened to Oliver, but I hope that his family can feel some pride in the fact that employees like ours listen to the story, take the learning on board, and it definitely has saved other people's lives. It has stopped the same thing happening again, and will continue to do so. But I think the fact that our employees have taken it so well and take all of these lessons on board, it's amazing.
One thing that struck me so much about what you've just said now, which is, is a terribly sad thing, that, and it should never have happened to Oliver. But for me, this is an amazing story that will continue to be repeated in a positive way, because what will happen now is that more and more people who live with autism and learning difficulties will become trainers. They will become trainers, just like Rachel and just like Robert. And that will have a huge impact on their lives and on the lives of others as well. And so for me, although it was a horrible situation, and of what happened to Oliver way back in 2016, that here we are less than a decade later, and his name is living on through other people, and they're training other people about what could have and should have happened for Oliver. And I think now that that's happening in such a fundamental way, I think that's the biggest positive legacy that anybody could hope for.
I think it goes a level deeper as well. I think it's changed the lives of the people we support in the way that not only are they becoming trainers, but with us getting them involved in recruitment, and they are actually going to be interviewing for people to support them. Right. Who better to sit on an interview panel than somebody that's going to benefit from this service? And we're almost forced to review our policies and our processes in line with that collaborative approach moving forwards. Yeah. Hopefully other companies will follow suit as we are. And so it's not only sort of saving people's lives, as you've said, and preventing such tragedies happening, but for everybody, it will be changing things for the better.
So thank you, Subia. Thank you, Chloe, for coming in today and telling us so much about your world of training, your world of how it's transforming the way you do your people work and working with people here at Rehability. Subia, please, can you come back in with Rachel and help us add another chapter to this story?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.